My name is Travis Stefanowicz. I'm currently the Chief of Police for the Fargo Police Department. So I'm certainly excited to be here. This opportunity to actually engage with people is a lot more fun for me as a person. I'd rather have conversation than just actually stand up and pontificate about a number of different subjects. So my favorite subjects are the Fargo Police Department and what we're doing and the things that we're working on. So that part will come easy. The difficult part for me is just introducing myself and or talking about myself at all, because I'd rather talk about the police department. But been a community member for just over 25 years. Got my start, as a fun fact, as a non-sworn dispatcher. At the time, for the police department, the dispatchers were hired specific for the agency. So dispatch for police, fire, and the Cass County Sheriff's Office at the time. So it was a great education for me, learning all the different emergency services. Got a lot of experience with the ambulance service and a number of different things, which really kind of created my interest in law enforcement, and quickly realized that I was on the wrong side of the radio. So that was just kind of my beginning. Overall, my family and my family's kind of born and raised in this general area, small town kids. So I like to do the work, not necessarily all the other parts that go around it, but certainly enjoy doing the work. So this job comes naturally because there's definitely a lot of work to be done, a lot of things that need to happen and take place on a day-to-day basis. But those are some of my favorite things. So as a priority and or vision kind of going forward, employee wellness is probably one of our top things. We want to make sure that we've got our employees that are in a really good space, both physically, mentally healthy. It's becoming more and more difficult, certainly with all the scrutiny that law enforcement receives over the course of time, throughout the course of their career, just making sure that everybody has what they need. And that I truly mean both sworn and civilian folks, because our civilian folks, as they're working through records and transcription and videos and all kinds of things like that, they're seeing a lot of the same things that the officers are. So dealing with that is certainly very difficult for a lot of people. So providing resources for both physical and mental health is extremely important to me. Trust within the community, obviously for all of us, that's an extremely important topic, and making sure that we're building on what we already have, maybe even repairing some when mistakes happen or things happen along the way. But that's something about me personally. I'd rather just own it, figure it out, talk through it, help make sure that everybody understands what the decision-making process was inside of that, and then moving forward almost as quickly as possible so that we can focus on today's tasks and what we're doing. Visibility for me is extremely important as we work through like downtown issues, dangerous driving behaviors, having people out and about. I think you probably see that a lot with like our recent event with the downtown street fair, working with the downtown community partnership. I think you'd notice that there's a much heavier presence with law enforcement. It's probably not that there wasn't anything done being different necessarily, other than just being more visible and sharing with everyone what our activities are and how we're going about that business. So I think that if you were to ask people in the downtown community partnership, that this last street fair, we had a really successful event. So looking forward to working more with the chamber and everybody else as we kind of navigate through a number of different challenges as a community and as a metro with my partners up here. But certainly as time goes on, most of you probably know that I'm the newest chief sitting up here. So I don't even remember what day it was that this whole thing started, because it's really just been a blur. But taking the time to listen, being involved in groups like this, having the opportunity that's been provided by the chamber as part of their regular gatherings, the ability to just reach out to different members, both going and coming, that's been extremely beneficial for us as we share kind of our message and exactly what we're trying to work on specifically, because we as a department need a lot of help. We can't do this on our own. It definitely takes collaboration, both with our community partnerships and with our other folks that are represented up here. These folks over here have absolutely been instrumental in not only getting where I am right now, but just as we work through a number of different things as a department and as a community. So really appreciate your time here today. Looking forward to the questions and kind of walking through some of the ideas and strategies. But at this time, I'll turn it over to Chief Nielsen.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the Chamber for hosting this event. Thanks everybody for showing up today. Appreciate everybody taking the time to come out. My name is Pete Nielsen, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as the police chief in the city of West Fargo. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised in West Fargo, went through the West Fargo school system. I graduated at West Fargo High School, and after graduation, I enlisted in the United States Air Force. I served in the Air Force for active duty for 4 years, and after the active duty service was over, I enrolled into Devils Lake at the Lake Region Academy, where I then became certified as a police officer. And I was hired by NDSU Police Department, and from there at NDSU Police Department, I worked there for a year, and then I transferred over to the West Fargo Police Department, where I've been there since 1999. So, long story short, I left to go join the military and see the world, and I got stationed in Grand Forks and came back to West Fargo. So I didn't really get to see a lot of places, but in those times when I was in there for 4 years, I did get to go to different places in Germany and Saudi Arabia and a whole bunch of different spots. So that was a great thing. But I love the city of West Fargo. Obviously, has drawn me back. I love serving as the chief of police. I think it's one of the greatest departments around. During my time at the West Fargo Police Departments, I've had a few different roles. I served as the assistant chief of police for 3 years prior to my appointment as the chief of police. During that time, I got to learn a lot of different things and prepare myself for this position. I believe this is the third time I've been in front of this group, and enjoy doing this each and every time. One of the other things that I've done at the police department, and probably one of my proudest moments, is back in 2011, I started the police canine unit. I was the first canine officer at the department, and during that time, since then till now, we've transitioned into 4 police dogs, and we also have 3 support comfort dogs that are out in our schools, which is very important. Those 3 dogs are comfort dogs. They're assigned to our school resource officers, and they go out each and every day to the elementary school. So that's one of the biggest biggest accomplishments I feel like I've had. My role as the chief of police is a lot different than being on patrol, as my partners up here would know. It's a lot of behind the desk and a lot of these types of events. So when you go out and become a police officer, the thing that you want to do is go out and be in the community and drive squad cars fast and arrest people, and then you become the chief of police and you sit behind your desk and take phone calls and go to meetings. So things do rapidly deteriorate as we get older. But I think one of the most important things we have, or what I feel like we have, is the support of the community. Everybody in this room is obviously very supportive, or may have some questions for us that we're going to try to answer for you today. But the city of West Fargo has great support for the police department. It's something that we don't take lightly. It's something that we have earned that trust, and we continue to make sure that we have and we build that trust even more. Since things have changed a lot since I started in law enforcement, and I think Chief Stefanowicz said one thing that I'll bring up, and it's the officer wellness and it's staff wellness. And at the West Fargo Police Department, we have done a few different things when it comes to officer wellness and staff wellness, and we take this as like a 3-prong attack. And what I mean about that is we have mental health, physical health, and we also have spiritual health within our agency. And I'll speak on those 3 prongs real quick. And for mental health, this year we decided to enroll all of staff, not just the police officers, but also our support staff, our civilian staff. And each individual, each employee in the police department now will see a certified doctor once per year, and the police department pays for that. And what that does is it gets them to a counselor, and it gets them to a professional where they're able to talk about some things that are happening. The other prong in there is the physical health. We've put a lot of money into a gym. We allow officers, if it's not busy, we allow the officers and staff to work out for 45 minutes on their shift, and that helps out with some of that physical tasks. And the last thing that we talk about when it comes to the 3-prong attack is the spiritual health. And with that, we have chaplains that we have brought in volunteer, and we have 5 different chaplains that range from different demographics. So people that are maybe more spiritual will lean towards this chaplain, and some that maybe are just questioning things may reach out to a different chaplain. And with that, we also have a thing every Wednesday morning, and that is, we call it Chatting with the Chaplain. So we have a church service at the police department for members of the police department every single Wednesday at 6 o'clock in the morning. So we're very happy with the way we're going with that, and we're very proud of that three-prong attack. One of my major roles as the chief of police is to make sure that all the officers and all the civilian staff are properly trained and support them to do their job that they need to do and that we expect them to do and the community expects them to do. So with training, we make sure that each and every one of them are allowed to attend the trainings that they would like to attend. And if there's some that we'd like to bring in to train the entire group, we do that as well. So being able to have the officer return home to their family is our number one goal. So we want to make sure that we do that. I want to say thank you for having me here, and I'll turn it over to Chief Helmick.
Good afternoon, everybody. Appreciate your time showing up here today, and we appreciate the Chamber for inviting us. And welcome to Moorhead. And welcome to the Loop. We're really proud of this building. And I know that if you're not from Moorhead, you're probably tired of hearing about it, but we don't get tired about talking about it. We are really proud of what we've developed. And as you probably have noticed as you drive up, this is just the start of this revitalization. And so it's really exciting to see these things happening in Moorhead. And to kind of go along with that, I'm working on my second year as police chief. And I started last April, coming from Fargo PD after 23 years. And over the course of the last year, we've also been trying to revitalize our department to kind of go along with what's going on in the broader city. There was a lot of good things going on at the department, but there was a lot of areas that needed improvement. And we've spent the last year starting to make those improvements. It doesn't happen overnight, and there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. But one of the things that we did here recently is we really clarified the mission of our police department. And the first thing that is part of our mission is that we keep Moorhead safe. And I think that goes without saying, right? I mean, that's what police departments do, and that's what our police department strives to do every single day. And that's not going to change. But the second thing that we really are trying to focus on with our mission is making sure we've got high standards for the folks that work for us. We really want to make sure we're delivering a high level of service for our community, and we want our officers to be well trained, be very proficient, and have the highest level of skills. And so, there's a lot that goes into that, but that is definitely a key part of our mission. And then the third part of that is making sure we continue to build on the community's trust. Because as the other chiefs mentioned, that's essential as a police department. And the nothing is different on the Moorhead side. And we have trust, but there's always room for improvement, and there's always areas that we can continue to build on, and we got to work hard to maintain that trust. And so that is again a key piece of that. But again, using that mission, we're trying to refocus and double down for our staff, and this is what we're trying to accomplish as a police department. But with that, there's 3 different areas that we're also focusing on. The first one that we're focusing on is our operations. And I think that those are the things that you would typically think of, right? Fighting crime, how we operate on a day-to-day basis. And we always want to make sure, again, we're delivering a high level of service to the community. But the second part of this, and the other chiefs touched on this area that's really important to me as well, is organizational culture. And part of that is wellness. That is a real key component. But also what we're trying to do is make sure that we've got a police department where our officers are proud to work there and they want to stay there for a career. I don't think it's been any secret that our department has struggled with staffing over the last couple of years. And we are definitely on the upward trend. In fact, we're hoping to be fully staffed here by the end of the year. And that's a huge accomplishment. Not my accomplishment. There are a lot of people behind the scenes that are working hard to make that happen. But that's just part of the pie. The second part of that is making sure we retain that staff that we're trying really hard to attract to our department and get them trained up so that they can, again, deliver that high level of service. But we want to make sure that we have a culture inside our building that people want to work. They want to work there. They enjoy working there, and we help them grow as well as while they spend that time with us. And then the third area of focus is engaging with the community. That's the Moorhead Police Department's had a long history of doing that, and it's definitely a source of pride for the department. And that's not going to change. That's still a very high priority for us. If we just kind of close ourselves off from the community, we're not going to be able to do our job effectively. We also recognize that having partners in the community is essential because we can't do this job alone. Whether it's fighting crime or dealing with homelessness or dealing with mental health, whatever the issue is, we have community partners that we really need to help us in those missions, but also we can have a seat at those tables as well to help solve some of those larger community issues that we all deal with. So again, those are some of the things that we've been focusing on over the last year, but we've got a lot more work to do. And, I think we're on the right track. But as I continue on as the chief of this department, there's a lot of things we want to accomplish collaboratively with not only in the building, but outside the building. But again, I think we're definitely on the right track. So with that, I'm going to stop talking because I want to get to the questions. But again, I really appreciate everybody's time today, and I'm happy to have all of you here in our great city. So thanks for being here.